What's up, guys? My name is SnyperSama, but you can call me Sniper. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are going over day X. Either way, today is the Switch Axe today. I ended up realizing that I left the light bow gun and the gun lance and the charge blade of the Switch Axe basically at the very end, which is really funny because three of those are my favorite weapons in the game: gun lance, charge blade, and Switch Axe. And ironically enough, I kept making things, and it wasn't for any of these weapons. So unfortunately, Switch Axe is towards the end of this little series we got going on. But at least in my opinion, it is one of the better ones. So without further ado, let's get started. Today we have the Wicked Regnum. Now, you have two choices when it comes to Switch Axes. I chose to go Para Switch Axe because as far as fighting things like Gogmazios, I don't and haven't really liked Switch Axe against Gogmazios. I don't know what it was about it, but every time that I've been fighting, it didn't click as well as some of the other weapons when I was fighting him specifically. Because of that, I decided to not go the elemental route, meaning we have a para one. This is going to be a build to fight literally every other monster except Omega and Gogmazios. That's it. Everything else is susceptible to this build. So let's go ahead and get into it. With our Wicked Regnum, we are rocking a paralysis status effect with Power File. This is actually the one Switch Axe that I have kept throughout all time. It is one of the first Switch Axes that I rolled, and I absolutely love it. And obviously, my reinforcement bonus isn't great. Ideally, what you want to be going for is an attack-focused Switch Axe, and ideally, you would end up dropping one of these sharpness boosts for an affinity boost. Because I have not gotten lucky enough to get another one, at least not roll another one like this, because there have been so many builds that I've been working on, I figured this was good enough as is, especially considering this is not a elemental base one. Okay, so the big thing here is the active skill. The active skill needs to be Lord Soul on the bottom. As far as the active skill up top, you don't really need anything else. Truth be told, you can get away with just caring only about Lord Soul. The idea behind it here is that you get the 5% damage increase. Because we're not investing into element, we don't really need it. And on top of that, because we're not investing a crazy amount into our affinity, you do not need to worry about having something like Gormagala's Tyranny or Leviathan's Fury. You can pretty much slot in whatever you want. The only one that really comes to mind, at least for me, that eventually I am going to try for is Doshaguma's Might. And the reason for that is because offsetting with Switch Axe is super easy and also super satisfying. Meaning, you might be able to work some synergies there. But as far as this build goes, Lord Soul is the only requirement you need. As far as the reinforcements, I would recommend something like this, minus this last sharpness. This last sharpness you could definitely and should replace with affinity. The reason for the affinity, because all of our weapons are attack focused, we have a negative 10% immediately. If you get an affinity EX, it negates that completely. And you end up not having to worry about weak strikes. So, wrong button. Now that we've gone over the weapon, we've gone over why we have chose the reinforcements we have. Let's take a look at the armor. The armor the only two pieces that really matter, which are new, quote unquote, are this Guardian Fulgur Helm Beta and Gogmazios Vambraces Alpha. The reason the Alpha matters more than the Beta one is, at least in this case, it comes with Fulgur and Janus Will, giving us that little extra stamina. If you guys are longtime subscribers to the channel, you will know that on Switch Axe, using the Guardian Fulgur Anjanath set, especially the set bonus skill, was huge for me during Switch Axe in Title Update 1. The reason for it was because Switch Axe is a weapon that does not use stamina for like any moves, meaning you can always take advantage of maximum might. Well, because of Transcending, you can use this all over again. You're not sitting there worrying about using Rarity 6 gear fighting monsters like Gogmazios and Savage Omega. Now it's Rarity 6, but truth be told, it's like Rarity 7.8. It's basically Rarity 8 armor. And in fact, in some cases, the decoration slots are better on some of this transcended gear versus their rarity 8 counterparts. The only thing that it misses out on is a little extra defense, but that's okay. The only thing you need to worry about is having the arms and the Fulgur Helm Beta, okay? This is going to give us that extra stamina boost, meaning we can take full advantage of things like maximum might. As far as the rest of the armor goes, we are going specifically for Guts, and we are going for the Udra and Uduna. The reason for these, they just come with some great skills. Not only do they come with great skills, but they also have great decoration slots available. It's really, really hard to beat these. They do a crazy amount of work. I mean, just on this one piece, you got 2 levels of Counter-Strike and 2 level 3 Decoros. On this one, you have Burst, Ambush, and a level 2, which is really nice. And then on the final one, who can forget about Quick Sheath Agitator with a level 3 slot and 2 level 1s, okay? All in all, the things you need to go for are here. However, because we went specifically for Lord Soul on our weapon, you can choose to drop one of these. I would recommend, if you were to drop any of them, more than likely it would just be in placement for a different build, okay? The idea behind it here is that we are pumping as much raw damage as possible because Switch Axe does a crazy amount of raw damage, especially with some of the new adjustments, as well as just how much damage full release Slash normally does. If you were to drop something like this, I would say probably this coil right here. The issue with it and why I'm not going any further with this and why I haven't adjusted it is because, truth be told, I don't know what else I would replace it with. More than likely, it would end up being that Doshiguma waste at some point, but we'll see when we get there. I haven't rolled it yet, which means it'll be a problem for future me. That being said, make sure to stay tuned for it, because if you're interested, it's going to get crazy. I've got even more builds coming out, and in fact, the Gunlance one is going nuts. So, our charm, it's our beloved Attack Boost Burst. This thing is great. The only thing you need to worry about is trying to get Attack Boost 3. If you can get Attack Boost 3, especially on the Golden Age charm, the Rarity A variant, you will be in a lot better space, just because it does and will give you an additional 2% attack and a bonus of +8, meaning you have even more raw attack, okay? As far as the armor decorations go, we have Challenger Jewel. This is just to max out our Agitator. As well as we have Burst Jewels. These are really, really nice, or Chain Jewels. These are going to max out Burst, and that's because Burst is really, really easy to have upkept, especially on Switch Axe, okay? Next up is we have 1 Mighty. This gives us maximum might maxed out. Counter Strike, which gives us Counter Strike maxed out, or Counter Jewel giving us Counter Strike maxed out. 2 Protection Jewels, 1 Shock Proof Jewel, and then we have this final jewel. This is a level 3 decoration slot jewel that I didn't have a place for. You don't really need to slot an ambush here. You can put in literally whatever you want. In fact, if you wanted to put in like 4A because you're going to be using a para weapon, that would work. It's kind of up to you. I ended up slotting an ambush just because most of the time when I am recording these videos and I'm testing these builds before I come to the training range and record all of them, I am getting the sneak attack just because I want to see how much damage I can actually do. Because most people, when you go into a fight, you're going to be hitting the sneak attack. So, as far as the decorations go, these are what I chose. I have noticed that Switch Axe feels good. I've noticed that Switch Axe feels nice. On top of that, I have noticed that I am morphing between modes a lot more since Title Update 4 dropped. They did a couple of adjustments to the Axe mode to make things a little faster, to the sword mode to make the counter specifically to make it to where you've got a little more mobility in between swings. But on top of that, they increase the damage and the potency of some of the other moves, meaning I am actually using Quick Switch more. I am using Rapid Morph more. And I actually think you guys should give it a shot. Just like I made on my last Charge Blade video, I have not been a huge fan of Rapid Morph, and that's because I played Rise/Sunbreak, where Rapid Morph was insane, especially on Switch Axe, where you had an endless loop that was just devastating to fight against. So, I am giving it another fair shake, and I think it's slowly becoming better. Okay, so, Quick Switch Handicraft. Enhancer Handicraft, this is just for Power Prolonger. Power Prolonger is one of the skills, at least in my opinion, is an absolute requirement on Switch Axe. And then last but not least, we have Grinder Attack Jewel. The reason we're rocking the grinder jewel is just because we have this level 3 sitting here. We might as well take full advantage of another good set of skills. Not only do you probably not need speed sharpening, but when you do need to sharpen mid-fight, it's a little bit easier, a little bit less worrisome if you are able to just 1, 2, done, versus having to sit there and sharpen the entire time. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and talk to our boy Luke and set everything up. Okay, so Agitator, we'll turn off Gogma Apocalypse. This is part of the build, Gogma Apocalypses, but it's not a huge part. It just happens to be what I have on. And because we are not rocking the 4-piece bonus, it doesn't really give us anything. So you can see here, we have 307 base raw attack. Granted, I have a food buff, but if you don't have a food buff, what are you doing? Okay, 35% affinity, and then the 80 element. Now, if we were to come over here and just start swinging, once burst ends up triggering, you can see we go up to 312. Okay, the best part about it, though, is that you actually have more things going for you. We'll go ahead and put on smash mode, no wounds. Now, what we're going to do here, counter rising slash, you can see we're up to 325 now. So, not only is our Switch Axe doing significantly more damage just because we have so many skills stacking with each other, but when we do get our Counter-Strike active, we are able to just pump out crazy damage. You can see here, 130 to 170 per hit. And unfortunately, just because I kept getting hit, I got stunned. That's actually kind of funny. I didn't think the test dummy could do that to you. So you can see here, every single one of our moves is just not consuming stamina. You have a guaranteed 35%. The only time you lose it is when you roll twice. Or if you sit here and spam wild swings. But even with wild swings, it doesn't take a crazy amount, okay? The idea behind this build is just to pump out the craziest amount of raw damage possible. And you can see there, we have nearly 2,000 damage with one full release slash. In fact, what we'll do here is we'll go ahead and activate our focus mode to record, charge up another full release slash, 1,600 damage for one hit. And then, one of my favorite parts about Switch Axe, we'll turn it into a little guide. You can jump out of your counter rising slash now. You do not need to follow up the attack. If you did not know that, I hope you do now. This is my para Switch Axe build. This thing is crazy. It's so much fun. I really enjoy it for literally everything but Gogmazios and Omega. That is going to do it for me for today's video, guys. Thank you all for coming to watch it. Thank you all for hanging out. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to comment. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you guys are as interested in Title Update 4 and other games as I am, don't forget that I stream most nights over on Twitch at twitch.tv/SnyperSama. I'll see all of you in the next one.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show